So this is from the National Joint Registry of UK, and what you can see is over the last 10 years, there have been 65 new knee implants implanted in NHS. So clearly surgeons are not happy and looking for newer things. And why is that? When you say that knee replacement is such a successful surgery, that's because 15 to 20% of patients are still unhappy with their result. And the result in the young patient, the active patient, is far from desirable. So over the last decade, there's been a surge in designs, materials, and technology. What are the aims of these? To improve the anatomical replication by giving multiple more choices in the implant, to improve the kinematics, to eliminate subtle instability with things like graduated radius or medial pivot, to retain proprioception by retaining ligaments, and to improve implant longevity. But the question is, has all this made a difference? Let's first look at cemented versus uncemented knees, and this is pool data, 15-year survival rate. We can see clearly younger patients with both do poorly. But currently, while there is a trend towards uncemented, it is still unproven. The UKR, though, is a different cup of tea. If you see here, we have 10-year survival data, again, pool data. You can clearly see younger patients are doing poorly with both uncemented and cemented UKRs. But clearly, the uncemented UKR is outperforming the cemented UKR in the younger patient. So if you've got a young patient with good bone stock, the uncemented UKR is the way to go. Ceramics, after their success in hip were introduced, the aim was to improve wear rates, to eliminate metal allergy, and reduce, to some extent, infection. You have two types of ceramic implants. You have a femur, metal femur coated with ceramic, or you can have a full metal-free ceramic implant. What's my feeling on this? As yet, the numbers are too early and small to give a call, but it has potential. Now coming to specific designs, you can see there's a whole host of designs available in the market today. And what I'm going to do is cover the more unusual designs. I'm not really going to talk on the cruciate retaining, stabilized, deep dish, rotating platform. That's all old hat. Let's look at some of the more modern designs. The first one is the bicruciate retaining knee, where both the anterior and posterior cruciate ligaments are retained. The first successful knee was really designed in 1983 by Cloutier, and you can see the picture of that knee. It's a very modern looking design, and he had pretty reasonably good results. But what happened was in the 1900s, with the success of the CR and PS, this knee somehow got shelved. And it's only recently that there's been a resurgence of interest in this knee. What do we have with this? We have better proven kinematics. There's no doubt about that. Perhaps better proprioception and a feel-good factor to the patient. And again, perhaps better stress transmission leading to longevity. But the downsides, the tibia is difficult. You're left with a small bone island containing the cruciates, which can very often fracture. And it's not suitable for the more deformed knees. So what's my take on this? The potential for improving function with this knee is very attractive, but we are still awaiting long-term results. One company has come out with a bicruciate stabilized knee, which has an anterior and posterior cam, which can mimic normal kinematics. The first generation of this knee failed disastrously, had to be withdrawn. The second generation is performing better, but as yet, it is, I would definitely say it's an unproven knee. Medial pivot knees are probably the ones which are garnering the most attention today. They've been around since the 1990s, so we have 20 plus year data on them, and they're definitely proven better kinematics, and they have very low contact stresses. So the very good results that they have shown and the relatively small learning curve compared to the other knees makes it perhaps the most attractive new design in the market today. Now, these sort of modular bicondylar knees where you use two different knee implants to resurface two condyles were quite, have been used in Europe for some time. Then one company decided to introduce a monolithic bicondylar knee in 2005. The reports were mixed. Some had good results, but there were many failures suggesting that it was technically more difficult to introduce a monolithic bicondylar knee than a modular bicondylar knee. So what I feel is this really is a surgery for the adventurous. The other type of knee, which is now garnering a lot of attention, are the customized knees, where based on a CT or MRI, you can print out a bone model and then you customize your implant, which can then be introduced either with customized jigs or using robotics. This has great advantages. You're recreating your anatomy and your kinematics nearly perfectly. You're reducing your surgical time, you're lowering complications, and you're reducing your hospital stay. Obviously, the big concern is the cost, but ironically, there is one study which says that these knees actually cost less because you have less adverse reaction, you have less readmissions, and you have less hospital stay. So this has great potential. So in conclusion, current TKR designs also good, definitely have scope for improvement. There are a wide variety of TKR designs, but no one design has yet proven to be superior. Newer designs aim to recreate normal kinematics. What remains unanswered, though, is if we recreate normal kinematics, will this finally translate into higher patient satisfaction? Thank you.